to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Brightman coming to you on Friday, December 8th. This is my game preview for Rutgers-Seton Hall. Huge game for both teams. Both teams come in 5-3. No notable wins between the two programs. 3 high major losses for Seton Hall. A blowout loss at number 6 Baylor on Tuesday. They've also lost on neutral courts to USC and Iowa. Rutgers, as we know, blowout loss at Wake Forest on Wednesday, blowout loss at home against Illinois last Saturday, and then that season opening loss to Princeton. So, a lot to prove for both sides. Should be a hostile environment at the Rock in Newark, and it's a big will game. It's a big gut check game. It's a statement opportunity for both teams, where they're both kind of a crossroads of the season. They're built a little bit differently. I think some keys for Rutgers just in terms of Seton Hall. Let's go through Seton Hall personnel first. Kadary Richmond, veteran guard, has really hurt Rutgers the last 2 years. The key for him is just keeping him in front of you and keeping him out of the lane. If he can penetrate at will, Rutgers is going to be in trouble, I think. He has the ability to not only finish, but also find open teammates. They have a big center in Bediako, who is also a really good offensive rebounder. But, they have Alamir Dawes has really struggled against high major competition, shooting the ball, but he can get hot. And he's a New Jersey guy, from Newark. Rutgers had recruited him. He played for Clemson when Rutgers played them and beat them in the NCAA tournament. So he's a veteran guard. If he gets hot, that's trouble. So look for kickouts from Richmond to him. Richmond just is kind of, as their offense goes, in terms of if Richmond can get downhill and be a problem in the half court, it's going to be a big issue for the Rutgers defense. Can they close off driving lanes? Can they force jump shots from Seton Hall? Raises the question: will Rutgers play a zone? I don't know. I mean, Seton Hall has some size out there. Richmond's 6'6". Coleman, Isaiah Coleman's a freshman off the bench. It's kind of an X factor. I think he could be a spark plug for them. He's 6'5". Dre Davis has, I think, been their most consistent player. He's 6'6". He's played really well in all 3 high major games. He scored double digits in every game but 2. The wings, guards, definitely bigger than Rutgers. You have Noah Fernandez at 5'11", Jermichael Davis 6'1", Simpson 6'2". I think Austin Williams, if you're going to go man-to-man, I think Austin Williams and Kadary Richmond is a matchup to watch for. I think that Williams, has the size and has proven that he can, be a good defender for them. So, but does he have the quickness to keep Richmond in front of him? I think that's the big question there. Bediako inside against Omori is going to be obviously a key matchup. Bediako is 9th in the country in offensive rebounding rate, and he is one of the best blockers in the country, 77th. But Cliff is 6th. Cliff has the 6th best block rate in the country right now in terms of defensive block rate. So that matchup inside is going to be fascinating to watch. Who gets in foul trouble first? How are they going to call this game? If either of them get fouls called early, that's going to be a sign. The refs might want to try to get out in front of it and try to slow things down, because I think it's going to be, both teams are going to have to play with desperation. It's going to be a chippy game. It could be a real classic in this matchup. 22 of the last 28 have been decided by 6 points or less. We know about last year. It was just an absolute slugfest in the 40s, where offenses went to die. And I think that was, efficiency-wise, the worst offensive performance of the season for Rutgers. But this is going to be, everybody in this court's got to leave everything out there. Can Rutgers win some loose balls? Can they want it more? Can they play with an urgency and an energy that is appropriate for their situation and for this game? I think that's a big question. I think it's been fair to wonder and kind of see that, they haven't shown the grit necessary to win these games against high major teams. Just in terms of Rutgers, how they approach things offensively. I think Seton Hall has not been great against high majors in terms of the three ball. Rutgers is going to have some opportunities. I think the key with Rutgers is that the ball's been sticking. They haven't been sharing the basketball, and they've been caught up in hero ball, ISO, one-on-one. It's one thing to penetrate and kick out and find open looks for your teammates. It's another to kind of get sucked in. Rutgers isn't finishing at the rim. So that's been a problem. What are they shooting at the rim? It's they're 300th nationally, shooting 45.5%. Just 30.6 from 3-point range, 262nd. Seton Hall is kind of average in defending both. But and they don't turn you over a ton. But that's the other thing in terms of offense. I mean, Rutgers is always best when they get offense from their defense. And Seton Hall is only averaging 10 turnovers a game. In terms of their turnover rate, it's about average. So how they handle the press, how much Rutgers utilizes it, they can't get beat off the dribble by Richmond, the full court press because they give up some really easy baskets that way. So I doubt they're going to put a big guy up front like Wolf or listen, if Mag plays or not, we don't know. So it's going to be guard pressure, ball pressure up front. I think JaMychal Davis has a chance, and I think he should play more. If Pico really wants to shake up the starting lineup, I think you start Davis, either over Fernandez or Simpson. I think, the last, I tweeted this yesterday, he has 10 assists and 0 turnovers in his last 3 games. He has one of the best steal rates in the country. He's up there. And also just in terms of, a lot of his assists haven't necessarily been drives to the basket, but he's been moving the ball around the perimeter. And, Noah has been good at that as well. And they need ball reverses in this game. They need to make Seton Hall work on the defensive end. They can't just get caught up in taking, first guy that gets the ball off a pass looks to score and takes a shot. They have to be more methodical in how they approach things. I think, is Seton Hall going to go zone? That's very possible. I could see that. Who's gonna post up in the paint at the top of the key and try to be the passer that can move the ball around. That could be an opportunity for Wolf in this game. They're going to need leadership on the court. It comes from Hyatt, but their dogs have to be dogs. Like Cliff, it's not his style, right, to show a ton of emotion. But it's going to be very interesting in this game. Like, this is a game, if Cliff shows emotion, right, I think that could have a big impact on his team because they know it's rare. Something's got to happen. Someone's got to do something to get them going. Can Gavin Griffiths rebound from a poor shooting night the other night? And he's going to get open looks, I think. I think he's the X factor for Rutgers in this game. If they can get his confidence up, if they can get him a couple open looks and he can knock him down early, that would be a huge sign for Rutgers. I mean, they need points. Points are going to be a premium in this game. They need to hit some shots. And if Rutgers can hit some shots early, their confidence is going to grow. I think their team confidence has been low. I don't think, this team isn't trying or isn't, playing hard per se, but they're lacking confidence, and it's showing in how they're carrying themselves on the floor and the intensity level that they have on the defensive end. And that's a problem. That's a problem. So, defensive rebounding has been a huge issue for Rutgers. Seton Hall is very good on the offensive glass. They're 33rd nationally. Did I say Bediako? He's 9th in the country with offensive rebounding rate as a team to 33rd. So, if Rutgers does want to run in this game in transition, you can't just do it off the turnovers. You need defensive rebounds. You need to get out and run. And can Rutgers rebound? That's the problem with the zone is that, yes, maybe it makes sense to go zone here and there to try to force some jumpers from Seton Hall, but it's also harder to rebound in the zone. So I can't see Pikel, going with his zone too much, but I do think it's time to mix it up a little bit. Maybe, throw it out, 7 minutes into the game and give Seton Hall something to think about, have to prepare for. But defensive rebounding, getting out on the break, That would be huge. I think that they're the better team in transition. I think Seton Hall can they get them on their heels a little bit? Can they get them into some silly fouls? That's going to be, a key for sure. I think that in terms of how they start, it's always important, but Rutgers cannot, it's not necessarily that they have to start fast, but they can't start themselves in a hole. They've been just starting so slow in these games. You can't dig yourself into a double-digit hole in the first 10 minutes of the game. It's going to be a hostile environment, as credit Seton Hall, fans, even though they're not opening the upper bowl, it is considered a sellout. It's going to be wild. I think they allotted less Rutgers tickets because Rutgers allotted less Seton Hall tickets last year, whatever. It's going to be rocking. And both teams really need to win. So how Rutgers handles that environment, their poise, they have lacked confidence when they've started slow, and that can't happen on Saturday or they get blown out. So this, frankly, I know coaches hate this. Kevin Willard, when he was coaching Seton Hall, he said he hated it. I think Peichel has embraced it a lot more. I know that Shaheen Holloway embraces it as a former Seton Hall player, New Jersey guy, but this game does mean more. It does in the sense of, especially the stage in which both teams are in. The old adage with this game is that you throw the records out the window. It doesn't matter. It's such a great rivalry game. But I think the records bring more to this game because of both team situations. Whichever team loses this game is certainly in jeopardy and is not close to position for making the postseason. The team that wins this game is going to be 6-3, has some losses. Neither will have bad losses on their resume. And they'll finally get a legit win in terms of, a quad 2, a high major win. So the up and down of the winner-loser scenario is pretty extreme in this game. And I think that brings more intrigue. And I don't know if you want to say it makes it more exciting, but it's going to make it more stressful, that's for sure. And, as a Rutgers fan, it's been disappointing the last 2 games. I've tried to explain expectations just in terms of, where Rutgers is. This is a game, this is kind of a show us game, right? Show us what you're made of. Win or lose, we want to see Rutgers just literally, bleed out there in the court. And I don't mean literally, but, in terms of their effort, in terms of their determination, in terms of their intensity, you want to see them, to the max in this game. Whether that results in a win, of course that's crucial to all this. But if they lay an egg, if they come out and get blown out, that would be as disheartening of a loss as they've had, and would really raise major red flags for the rest of the season. If you can't get up for this game, that's a problem. Now, that being said, I have faith that they will. I think, Peichel having that extended post-game locker room conversation shows that he has the urgency and understands the moment and the kind of crossroads that this team is in. And, last year they lost that awful game at Ohio State with the terrible call. 2 years ago, they beat Purdue when they were number 1 at the rack on Ron's buzzer beater. So emotional high, emotional low the last 2 years, and they lost both of those next games against Seton Hall. They haven't won in Newark in 10 years. They've lost the last 2. Peichel's 2-4 against Seton Hall. There's a lot on the line. And Rutgers has to take the fight to Seton Hall. That's what you have to hope for. You really want to see this team play with guts. And again, it's not that they haven't been playing hard, but it's just the intensity level, the confidence, the energy, the communication with each other. It's got to be ramped up. And if there's ever a game that you want to see them rise to that occasion, it's this game. And for me, that's what I'm looking for. Of course, we want to win, but we want to see them get off the mat in every way in terms of how they're playing the game. And if they can do that, that could lead to some good things. Obviously, they have to make baskets. Obviously, you have to make free throws. Seton Hall, by the way, shooting 80% as a team. Nobody's shooting under 70%. Even Bediako is at 70. So the one thing is Seton Hall does not get to the line a lot. So, and Rutgers has been pretty good about not letting teams get to the line a lot. So that's a key as well. Home whistle, whatever. Listen, Seton Hall is going to get some calls. That's fine. Rutgers has to be able to overcome that adversity. And they've been good at getting to the line, but not converting. They're only shooting 65%. So free throw line is certainly a big variable in this game. It's going to be stressful. It's always Rutgers-Seton Hall. Everything's on the table, and it just means more. And if you say it doesn't mean more, you're lying. And Seton Hall fans, they love to get on us, and I'm sure I already get some chirping from this video. But listen, I really like Holloway as a coach. Seton Hall is a tough team. Rutgers has to match and exceed that toughness. They haven't shown that, and they need to do that on Saturday night to win in a hostile environment in a game where their season very much, you don't want to say on the brink because it's not on the brink, but it's a big game. It's a game they need. They really need this game, because if you win this game and then you have LIU and then you have a neutral court, you're back on this court in 2 weeks against Mississippi State, and they haven't looked great and they're not a high-powered offense. If you can win those games, finish the year, I mean, they're in a fine position going into the new year. So, as one of my favorite movies, Big Lebowski, nothing is F tier, dude. Nothing is F tier yet. Yes, it's been concerning, but Rutgers still has plenty of opportunities, and Saturday is a huge opportunity for them to prove to everyone this team can play. And they have to play together. They have to be more connected on the court. They're not connected on the court. Both ends of the floor, defensively and on the offensive end. They have to share the basketball. They have to, make proper rotations defensively. They can't sell out, defensively. They can't be over aggressive. They have to maintain their poise, and the leaders have to lead. The best players on this team have to step up. And I think this is a game that Peichel, with the rotations, whatever, he's got to throw it out the window. Like, he's got to find the lineups that's working, and he's got to run with it. And I think he's got a chance to play a bigger lineup in this game, which could cause problems. But we'll see. But he's got to, whatever combination he finds, he's got to run with it. If Austin Williams is the only guy that can defend Richmond, he's got to play 30 minutes. If Jermichael Davis is distributing the basketball, he's not forcing a shot, and he's getting steals, he's got to play 25, 30 minutes. So we'll see what happens. I trust Peichel to, it's going to be a big coaching battle against Holloway. And, it's everyone has a chance to prove something in this game. Let's hope Rutgers comes out on top. I'm optimistic they will. Thank you for listening and watching The Scarlet Faithful once again.